Bulavinaka, namaste and good evening. You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. As promised, we have our special guests tonight in studio, and that's the Miss Hibiscus 2024 contestants. We have a total of 9 contestants this year. Miss Hibiscus coming back, and a lot of promise that we want to see the pageant as it was in yesteryears. A lot of work has gone into this, and it will start with Saturday. This Saturday the pageant starts, and the crowning will be next Saturday, September 7th at the Suva foreshore. The venue for Miss Hibiscus 2024 will be at the Suva foreshore and Suva Civic Center. We are privileged to have for you our guests, our first round of guests for tonight, and they are Miss Goodman Fielder, Shannon Patrick, Miss Fiji Fashion Week, Pepe Malani, Miss Sigatoka River Safari, Siteri Qalibau, and Miss Apco, Rowena Acraman. Ladies, thank you very much for coming and speaking to people directly on the show tonight. We'll start off with our questions, and the questions will be asked of these contestants. You sitting at home, of course, are looking forward to their answers. We have discussed that they are ready to be speaking to you directly about their aims, their objectives, their goals as they enter the pageant, to make it special for them and for all of us this year. I'll start off with Miss Goodman Fielder, Shannon. Shannon, if you can introduce yourself and also tell us why you decided to join the pageant this year.
Good evening, Vijay, and thank you for having us. So, my name is Shannon Patrick. I am 28 years young, and I'm proudly representing Goodman Fielder this year. I come from a family of 4, and I am the youngest. I have a Rotuman Indian background, so I have paternal links to the beautiful island of Rotuma. My mom's from the Indian Fijian community, and I have studied in graphic designing and photography at FNU. Later, I pursued my education as a professional diploma in business management at USB. Now I'm currently employed at Goodman Fielder. Amongst all of that, I had the time to actually be part of dancing. So I danced. I was professionally trained in Indian classical dancing for about 10 years. And through that, I was able to travel. I had participated in the Miss Halala Festival, where I performed in 2017. And together with that, at the same time, I joined into our modeling industry. So when I started modeling in 2017, I started modeling for charitable organizations such as Style Fiji. Thank you.
And you chose your costume and hibiscus flower. I did ask you off camera,
Yes.
all of you, why did you choose them?
I mean, because it is the Hibiscus Festival, and it is the mother of all festivals, and we are bringing back how hibiscus is and used to be, and we want to bring that Hibiscus Festival back to us.
Miss Fiji Fashion Week, Pepe Malani, if you can tell us a bit about yourself and why you decided to join the pageant this year.
Nisam Bulavinaka, Malalele, and Arnayandra. Again, my name is Pepe Malani. I am 19 years of age. I am proudly sponsored by Fiji Fashion Week, and I come from Nambukandra, Nakorotumbu in the province of Ra, with maternal links to Tonga. So my father is from Ra and my mom is from Tonga. And I am the youngest of 5 siblings. I enjoy singing. It's something that I've carried with me in my entire life. My mother had a background of singing, so she sort of passed it on to me. And I've taken it seriously to the point where I had the opportunity to represent Fiji at the World Choir Games that was held last month. And I had the privilege to win gold, which is something that I hold very close to me now. And I attended St. Joseph Secondary School, and I also attended, for my primary school, I went to St. Marcelin Primary School. And the reason for why I have joined the Hibiscus Festival this year is because I wanted to empower young women just like me, because, well, I'm just still 19, to explore the opportunities and to to explore their skills and talents and to believe in themselves, and to never doubt themselves, because these days I see that most girls wait for validation from the public. They view themselves from the perception of the public, which is something that I want to change. And so I thought that this Hibiscus Festival would be the perfect platform for me to express that. And also, apart from that, I wanted to express and showcase the culture and tradition of our beloved Fiji.
Thank you, Pepe. And we move on to Miss Sigatoka River Safari.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you for having us. Rowena and Dolaoka. My name is Siteri Qalibau. I'm 21 years old and I'm representing Sigatoka River Safari this year. I am from the village of Ndramba in the interior of Navasa with maternal links to Ngaloa Serua. I was raised by my father and my grandparents. My biological mother passed away when I was 21 months old after my younger brother was born. My father then remarried when I was 5 to an Australian woman, so they both raised me up until I was 21. And growing up, I attended Navasa Central College. I was badged prefect straight from year 9 to year 12. In year 12, I was deputy head girl. I went on to University of the South Pacific studying journalism and social work for a year. And then I went back home for the later year due to COVID. For the rest of those years, I sort of upskilled myself with video editing and videography, photography. So that was sort of a hobby I picked up while I stayed home. I grew up on the farm, so I was always dirty almost every day. And it's tough life, but I loved it. And I decided to join this Hibiscus this year to be able to have a platform to showcase where I'm from, our culture, our traditions, be a voice for my people and the Vanua I represent, and hopefully inspire others along the way that it's okay to be different, It's okay to get out and try something new and step out of your comfort zone, like exactly what I'm doing right now.
Thank you. And Miss Apco, Rowena.
Bola again, everyone. I'm Rowena Acraman. I'm 22 years old. I just turned 22 in July. Growing up, I grew up with my mom's side of the family. I grew up in a single-parent family where my mom was working, and she left me to stay with my grandmother, my aunties, and my uncles. So I was always surrounded by family. I never felt like I was missing a father figure, which I was, but I never let that hinder me because my family's love always filled that void. And I went to St. Anne's Primary School for my primary education, and for high school I went to Vijay Narayan College. My family were very supportive of my education because that's what my grandmother wanted. She only completed class 8, so she always pushed me to complete my education. And now I've actually completed my degrees in psychology and journalism. I'm awaiting graduation in September, which is next week during Hibiscus Week. So that's quite exciting. She unfortunately passed away in May this year. So that really hindered me because I used to call her mom. Yeah? The reason I joined the Hibiscus pageant was because I really wanted to make a difference in people's life. I wanted to show them that, it's okay if you're struggling with things. It's okay if you don't have everything in life, but if you keep pushing yourself, if you have people, a good support system who believe in you, I think that's enough to accomplish your goals. And sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional, but that's the whole reason I joined the Hibiscus pageant.
Thank you, Rowena. Now, I'll ask you, Siteri. Tell us, all those watching, one of your proudest achievements so far.
My proudest achievement personally would be my personal growth over the years. Same as Rowena, my mother just passed away last year, and that sort of pulled me back as well. But growing up, I was brought up in a Christian household. And when my mother passed, I sort of lost touch with that. And lately, that's my greatest achievement, is going back to him, forming that relationship again. And so that sort of is my greatest achievement, personally, going close again with God and Jesus.
Thank you. Shannon, what would you rate as your proudest achievements so far?
Well, so I think my proudest achievement so far is joining and being part of Miss Hibiscus Festival, because personally I've been around where I've been performing, and I've been a part of modeling as well. So with that, I have grown and personally, moved forward in life. And now I think this is a new platform for me to step into and help in any way possible that I can through my advocacy messages, and also, being able to be a role model for everyone, the young ones, everyone that's here.
And what about you, Rowena? What would make your best and proudest achievement so far?
I think for me it would be one, completing my university education, just because I'm aware that no other female in my family I know have completed their uni education, so I'm just really proud to make my family proud. I think secondly would be joining the Miss Hibiscus pageant, because it's something that takes a lot of courage to be able to just put yourself out there despite so much criticism. A lot of people have a lot of opinions, especially with the rise of social media. So I think just having a brave face and standing up to people, I think that's one of my greatest achievements.
And what about you, Pepe?
Well, I think I mentioned it earlier. My greatest achievement so far was winning gold at the World Choir Games. I think that was the first time Fiji had won an award within the music industry overseas. And to be representing Fiji, it was just such a great experience and an amazing feeling to have gone through.
Thank you, and congratulations. You've achieved so many things so far. I feel blessed to be sitting around all of you with all your achievements. Now, Rowena, I'll ask you, what are 2 things you would change or improve in Suva if you, say, became the head of the Suva City Council?
That's a really good question. I was just thinking about it, and we have such a beautiful municipal market, but the problem here is we don't have enough civic pride. We just throw our litter anywhere, and I think two things actually I would implement is having more education on civic pride, keeping our city clean. We live in this city, we should be proud to call it our home. So I think having education on littering and how to maintain our public properties. And number 2 is implementing these rubbish bins that have sections where you throw into different categories of garbage. So they have the plastic, they have the paper one, and they have the miscellaneous garbage. And I think that also makes it easier, because we have our collection pillars of recycling, those who actually benefit from recycling and they make money off of it. So I feel like that would also help them make money as the garbage is already sorted.
What about you, Siteri?
Well, I'm not exactly a Suva girl, and to what I know of Suva, it would be also, if I were to be the head of the Suva City Council, it would also be similar with Rowena's, the litter and everywhere. And also I know there's a rise of homelessness is always on the streets, and they also leave behind all their cardboards, their sleeping. If there would be an area where they could all leave all their things there, so as to litter the walkways along the town, that would be really great. Sorry about that.
Shannon?
So I personally feel that Suva is already, at a really good spot at the moment. And one thing I'd like to, improve in future would be making sure that how we have these lights displayed at the moment. We have the hibiscus coming up and there's so much lights around and people are just so excited about it, and if we were to have more lightings, more people would be excited to be outside. And just keeping our areas such as My Suva Park, the Nesese, that's been newly renovated, in a good condition where people are able to sit and have their family times.
I mean, bright and clean.
Yes, bright and clean.
Pepe?
Well, I think the girls have mentioned it all, but just another thing would be sort of similar to Rowena's, but our oceans, because, knowing that we have many tourists around and it's one of the sceneries that beautifies Fiji, just to provide more organizations or communities to keep it clean and more presentable. Yes.
Now, Siteri, what more can we do for visitors coming to Suva? I know you said you are not from Suva, but maybe you have been visiting Suva, and what more would you like to see that we can do for those visiting?
So I have visited, over the last year, I've only visited Suva for this hibiscus. Other than that, the last time I was in Suva was for my University of the South Pacific year. For visitors coming into Suva, I would probably provide them with more access to transport. As soon as you get off so I come by bus all the time to Suva. There's also minivans, but I always think the bus is safer. So when I get off the bus, I have to sort of navigate my way along with the bus stand, all the buses, where they're going, how they're going. And the taxi stand is always usually on the other side, near the market. If there could be like a little area close to the buses where the taxis could just come instead of crossing the road to the flea market and having to hail a taxi down, I think that'd be good for the tourists. Just get off and there's transport waiting for them.
Pepe, what about you? What more can we do for visitors coming to Suva?
I feel like it would be great if someone could start up a company based on guiding the visitors that come to Suva. So just so it would be, especially an app, even an app would be great. It's just so tourists could easily access their way around Suva, and they would know who to go to for directions or just for a guide, yes.
What about you, Shannon?
I think more food places that bring the aesthetics of Suva, the aesthetics of Fiji, where because people love food, and if you bring people the home-loved foods that we have as a country, as a nation, people would enjoy, and tourists would enjoy coming to the country.
Rowena?
Like I mentioned earlier, I believe that cleaning up that area, because they do, like when they come from cruise ships, or even when they're coming from the bus stand way, when they catch the bus from Nandi to Suva, there's just a lot of garbage that side. Like we could have more garbage bins provided for them, and like Pepe was saying, having more tour guides available that would not only help tourists, but that would also help our local economy, because we have a lot of locals who would be willing to show tourists around, so that would be a really great thing to implement here. And I think that's what I would implement.
So Shannon, on to my next question. How do you think our government and communities can help women more in Fiji?
Personally, I feel like the government is doing enough. But if we were given an opportunity to make lives better for women, it would be giving them a platform or implementing hotlines where women especially, are able to call as helpline services when you have domestic violence issues. There's a lot of issues that women face on a day-to-day basis. And especially if these women have access to hotlines that they're able to call and complain or call and raise their issues, they would be feeling a lot more safer. And if this initiative is driven by the government, it would bring the women, us women, a sense of security.
What are your thoughts on that, Rowena?
So in terms of helping women, when I think from the business perspective, because I know a lot of women, everyone has their talents. So in the business side of things, I feel like small grants to help women start up little businesses, like jewelry making, even tailoring, or anything they want to do. I think a small grant just to help them start up their businesses, I think that would really help women, just to make them even more like independent and having their own source of income. And in terms of domestic violence and things of that sort, like Shannon was saying, having helplines or creating more awareness to remove the stigma that it's okay to ask for help if you're in danger. And it's okay to reach out, even I know there's some safe houses we have in Suva, like when people are affected by domestic violence, they can go to those safe houses. So it's just important to raise awareness that these things are available. It's just a matter of finding out how to get there.
Pepe, your thoughts on what do you think our government and communities can help women more in Fiji?
I definitely agree with Shannon and Rowena. I think another thing the government could implement is also more rehabilitation treatment. I think there's majority of women that are struggling with mental health, and also which is a result of domestic violence as well. and it would be great for them to have a platform that they could turn to, and where they could freely speak about their problems and voice their opinions.
Siteri?
I think all these three girls have actually said most of what's important, but maybe to even add, if they could provide a more community outreach in especially the rural areas where the women, they don't know where the safe houses are, what hotlines to use. So if there's more outreaches to those areas, there will be more women who'd come up and voice their concerns and their opinions, and I think that would be very helpful for them.
Now, there's a high rate of domestic violence in this country. We are rated as a country which has one of the highest statistics in the world. 2 out of 3 women have experienced some sort of domestic violence in Fiji, which we should not be proud of. What are your thoughts on it, and what's one thing that you think can be done to try to reduce these alarming figures?
Well, in terms of having the highest cases of domestic violence, I feel like it really attributes to social media and pornography. I think these are things that actually really contribute to it, because people see things online, they want to recreate these things. And who else to pick on than our women who are vulnerable, right? And another thing is, sorry, could you repeat what you asked me again?
Just a high rate of domestic violence, and what's one thing we should be doing to ensure we reduce these alarming statistics?
Right. So when we talk about trying to reduce these things, we can spread all the awareness we want to, but sometimes it doesn't reach people. So what we can do is, instead of going to the women, we should be going to the men, because I feel like these men are projecting their, not attacking men or anything, but I feel like men too suffer so much. They have a lot of things going on in their mind, and they don't have an outlet. So what they do is they turn to women, and they use them as an emotional punching bag, or even a physical one. So I feel like we should be talking to the men as well and engaging with them, creating more mental health awareness for men, and having men talk more about their problems. Because what are we doing when we go to the cover bars? Are we talking about our problems, or are we just drinking to like relieve our stress? I feel like the more we bottle things up inside, the more it just like, it'll explode at one point. So I think we should talk to both the men and the women on these issues.
Pepe?
I definitely agree. Another thing I'd like to touch on is, because I feel like all these problems, these all start from home, right? So also educating our youth of today on doing the right thing and guiding them just to build them up for the future, because the future, our youth are our future leaders, and how they, towards women as well, like Rowena said, mentioning about the men, I feel like in today's society, most of us just focus on the women, because of course that's the main the main issue is the women are being abused, and men are just taking the advantage of their strength and aiming them because they're weak, and I think they lack the knowledge and the teachings from home from a very young age.
Siteri?
So you just stated that Fiji is the top 3, right? And to think about it, that is the reported cases. So you can imagine how many cases are not reported, or women who don't speak up. And I think also an issue would be the people who know about it and they sweep it under the rug. They don't tell anybody, and they don't look out for the women who are in that situation. So I think them keeping quiet is also an issue. They need to speak up about it.
How can we get them to speak up about it?
They will. I think the reason they probably don't speak about it is because they are scared of the consequences. So if we would give them a sort of maybe a safe person or a safe way, they can sort of speak up about it, but not let it be known. Like, they can help that person, but that person who's, so the man who is committing the violence doesn't need to know who reported it, because they know that if they say it and the men find out, they'll come for them as well. And that's sort of a way we can help those who help.
We have a safety net.
Yes.
Shannon?
I completely agree with all the three women, because when we are children, when we were growing up, when I was growing up, we weren't spoken to about domestic violence. We didn't grow up in an environment where our parents or our elders would talk to about these issues to us. And I think what we need to start doing is we need to start telling our children, our young adults, what good touch is, what bad touch is, what is a way that you need to behave, how to behave with women or men, generally with any gender, how to behave with a person. And aside from just teaching these at home, you also need to have these better educations in schools where people are given these curricular activities where they understand that these are situations of today and what Fiji is facing and how we can overcome this. It is a long process that comes over, and it's not something that can happen immediately, but if education systems now implement it and we as parents, guardians, implement it in our houses, we can make the change in the coming years for our future generations.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
Oh my gosh! Oh, what's in the box?
You're probably wondering, what's in the box? Well, if you must know, it's actually me. Before you call the police, I'm actually an app. The all-new Fiji Village app. Here's an update. See what I did there? I gave you an update. What's new? Well, for starters, I look different. My new layout also comes with stories if you're looking for something short and sweet. I will bring you the latest news on the dot so you stay updated. You're welcome. You don't have to go anywhere for content because I bring the content to you. Not only can you listen to your favorite radio stations, you can also watch online video content. Which reminds me, do you love sports? Well, guess what? With the Fiji Village app, you can stay up to date with your favorite sports and scoreboards, no matter where you are. Your #1 news website just got better with an app. Download and get updated now.
Bola and welcome to Magic Factory. Are you looking for some magic?
Did somebody say
No,
magic?
Abras, no.
As I was saying, here at Magic Factory, we provide
It's just one step.
I'm shooting one for more.
Bola, I'm Marcus and welcome to Magic Factory. Are you looking for something to more? What is it?
Hi guys. I'm Marcus, the client's approved.
Hey, yo, sit. After this, I just shoot this promo, manta, please. Bula vinaka, everyone, and welcome to Magic Factory, where we provide you with audio visual sombo. What do you guys want now?
One client is in for recording.
Radio Edo.
A jingle.
Jingle?
Yeah.
Okay, after this, then I'll come. But just let me record this, man.
Okay, let's go.
Radio jingle. Bula, everyone, and welcome to Magic. So, I haven't even started.
Are you even following the script? Come on, press more.
What's in the script? What's in the script?
No excuses. Last one. Magic, more magic.
Hi, I'm Marcus, and welcome to Magic Factory. For all your audiovisual production needs, you just bring your problems, and we'll bring the magic.
Cut.
What now?
You can't put this up.
Why?
It's just too good.
Did someone say
No.
Magic Factory for all your visual and audio production needs. You know what? Just call us.
That sounds right. Okay, I got it. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Sick and tired of hearing all these people talk about what's the deal with this pop life and when is it gonna fade out?
The sun is fading away.
If I could reach the stars,
Bum, 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 bum. I don't know the rest of the words.
I'd give them all to you.
As the June light turns to moonlight.
La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Loving you is all I ever need. Making love with you is all good.
I take back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay.
Welcome back. You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Our guest tonight, the first round of contestants for Miss Hibiscus 2024, and that's Miss Goodman Fielder, Shannon Patrick, Miss Fiji Fashion Week, Pepe Malani, Miss Sigatoka River Safari, Siteri Qalibau, and Miss Apco, Rowena Acraman. We'll start off with Rowena. We talked a bit about domestic violence, but there's a lot of talk about the increase in violent crimes in the country, and Suva is not spared from that. What are your suggestions on how we can reduce that?
So yes, I've heard a lot of crimes, especially outside the nightclubs. A lot of people are getting assaulted, robbed. I'm not sure about murder, but I know that there are a lot of violent crimes going on, and it's our young people who are being targeted because, you know, they're going to these places. Even people are dying in their homes from assault, and I think this is attributed to the lack of opportunities we have for people, because when there aren't opportunities for people to make money or do things, productive things, they tend to stray and do things of this sort just to get like a few bucks, just to, you know, continue their living. So I feel like the lack of opportunities really plays a huge role. And not only that, also social media, they watch things from the internet, you know, they watch Hollywood movies, maybe even Bollywood movies, I'm not really sure, but they learn these things from the internet and they feel like, oh, if they can do this in the movie, I could probably do the same and get away with it. So I feel like that's what's happening here. We have to tell people that there are opportunities, that they are out there. It's the matter of using your talents to make money, earn revenue. And I feel like once we encourage people to use their skills or even go learn a new skill, I think these things would start to decrease.
Shannon?
I think something that we all face in a day-to-day life is pickpocketing, you know, and as small as a word it is, it's become such an issue where pickpocketing went from stealing small things from people to now people, you know, being threatened with life. And I think what people need to understand is that even though these are being done, we should in our homes look after our young ones. You know, if you see them with the wrong sort of people or the wrong crowds, making sure that they are moved away and they're spoken to about what this behavior is and how it could impact their future lives, because they are our leaders, you know.
Siteri?
I actually agree with these two girls, and I think another factor that contributes to the rise of the violence is the peer pressure. They see their friends do it and they think it's cool. They see all the people doing it and they see it's cool. They think that if they can take something from someone, they're cool, they're better. They were able to take it without them noticing. They think that if they abuse someone in public, they look muscular, they have that image, and it gets to their head, and they think the more they do it, the cooler they become. And I think it needs to be taught from young that that is not cool, that is something wrong with, that is a crime. If you're taught from even schools, if schools are able to teach that to the kids, it would be actually great. Because it starts off with the small things, stealing pencils, sharpeners in high schools, and as they get older, it gets worse and worse. So if it was instilled in them when they were younger, it will probably help them as they get older.
Pepe?
Yes, that's definitely true. I mean, like Rowena mentioned, social media, peer pressure, and all these influences. I think one of the main contributing factors to crime, because from what I've seen, most of them are based on trying to earn money. Well, not earn money, they're actually getting it in a very violent way. But the main contributing factor to that, I feel, would be unemployment, lack of job opportunities. Most of our young people today, straight from after they graduate, they can't find a job. And I think due to that, it has also led and resulted to the other nuclear problem, which is poverty. And so because these people aren't able to support themselves, what do they turn to? They turn to violence, they turn to crime. They start killing each other, they start stealing from each other. And I think that is something that should really be addressed.
Siteri, This issue is like a ticking time bomb now. It is in relation to the rise in the use and selling of hard drugs. What are your thoughts on it? Because we are all in the community and we know it's on the rise. And a lot of people are saying, what is being done about it? We need to take urgent action. What do you think should be done?
I heard a sort of segment the other day. I'm not sure who was talking about it, but they looked at the use of drugs more as a mental health issue rather than a crime. So some would look at it as it's a sort of a coping mechanism. They face something at home personally, or they're facing it at work or with their friends, and they sort of turn to drugs to sort of drown that feeling. And if there had been more, not exactly rehabilitation centers, but a way for them to talk it out before they actually use it, sort of like therapy, but before they actually start using it, because there are other ways to cope rather than drugs. I walked around Nandi town the other day, and there is literally needles along the walkway, and the blatant use of it is sort of alarming as well. I walked into Suva the other night and I saw 8-year-old kids smoking, and the police are not doing anything. They're looking at it, but they're not even doing anything about it. It's sort of brushed under the rug as well. They let it slide. They are homeless, so they just let it slide. But that shouldn't be an issue where you don't do anything about it just because they are homeless. And they turning to all of these things because peer pressure. They see it's cool, so they do it. The younger kids see the older people smoking, using drugs, and they think it's a cool thing. So they start to do it thinking that it's okay, whereas they're not taught that it's not okay. So it's sort of not just a criminal issue, but a mental issue as well.
Pepe?
Yes, I definitely agree. And I'd like to bring back the point of unemployment again, because another issue could be people trying to find ways to make money, and probably the most easiest way of making money is selling drugs, which increases these HIV cases. And also another suggestion would be instilling a more stronger, I'd say, police patrol, just to keep a strict and firm patrol around the area, and especially with young children, like she said, 8-year-olds smoking, to ensure that they aren't carrying this action out in public or even in private especially.
Shannon?
I think as it goes back to, it needs to be in our roots, in our house, in our households, and making sure that kids understand what drugs is. You know, the main cause of what drug is, how can it affect you as a person, how it can affect your future. And once our little ones are able to understand this, they're able to then differentiate, you know, this is not a good thing. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. We need to remove that stigma of it looks cool. And once that part of it is then removed, people can see it clearly as how it is. And then making sure that you have it in education systems where people are able to understand that, you know, drugs is not a good thing. And I think us as leaders, as parents, as older generations, we need to understand that we need to make sure that our kids are being safe. So after school, before school, making sure that, you know, the kids are not found in places they shouldn't be.
Rowena?
Well, with this increasing usage of drugs, it is a very concerning issue, because we have children in primary school who are mixing their own drugs, the copen. There's so many articles happening. We could turn to the parents and say, what are the parents doing? But what happens when the parents are making the children push drugs? This is all because of poverty, because drugs is something, it has so much money in it, and it's such a dangerous thing. Like, people can threaten each other with it because they have so much money, like black money sitting there. And so this is the reason it also like goes unspoken about, because people are scared to voice their opinions, because, oh, what if I get threatened? What if something happens to my family? And things of that sort. So people are scared to talk about drugs here. they don't want to be involved in this kind of things because they just don't want anyone else to be under threat because of what they're doing. And not only that, just last week I went with Drug Free Awareness Fiji, and we spoke to some of the patients there, and the youngest patient at the time was 17 years old, and he said he had left class 7 and he had been using drugs since he was in primary school. And when I asked him, what about your parents? He said, no, I don't have a good relationship with my family. I can't, share things with them. And that caused him to go and hang out with friends who were peddling drugs, and they had been giving him needles, and he's only 17 and having HIV. So these are the kind of things, like we don't have a rehabilitation. If people are affected by drugs, they just put in St. Giles just to have like a time out. But we need to be talking with these people, and we need to like really go into depth with families, even like educating families, like if they're having issues, they should be talking about it. If they are being threatened by someone, they should be like telling people. But sometimes it's just the fear that keeps us under wraps.
We'll talk about, and this platform has been given to these young women to highlight concerns on the ground. We know the authorities are also watching, and you have to take notice of what the voices are saying over here. And that's how we can have a better Fiji. A Fiji where people are concerned and raising concerns about how we can do better. On to the next issue. We've seen the alarming reported cases of HIV. New HIV cases from January to June this year amounts to 552. That's quite staggering, and knowing that's only the reported cases. 85 of those are through injectable drugs, and it shows that the amount of needles and syringes we're seeing in different parts of the country, in neighborhoods, it's becoming very clear that a new threat is coming up as far as HIV is concerned because of things like Bluetoothing and chemsex. Pepe, I'll ask you first, what can be done? One thing that we can do to start reducing these number of cases?
Definitely increase more rehabilitation treatment programs. From what I've seen, I noticed that we lack in rehabilitation treatment programs. And that is something that I would really love to see increasing, because with our drug cases also increasing, we need to instill a program where these young people are able to turn to and find someone to talk to and educate them on the consequences that drugs could take them to and lead them to. And yes, that's
Siteri?
I think Pepe has a point as well. Have rehabilitation centers for those who have HIV. And also, I talk a lot about safe spaces for these people. I know a few people who have HIV but are too scared to go to the proper medical center to get treated. One reason is because they are scared of those people in the center sort of sharing it, because there's a stigma that if you had HIV, it's communicable. You can pass it on to someone else, and they don't want to have that stigma around them. So if they could be able to head to a certain place or area or a center where they can easily share it and get the proper treatment for it, I think a lot more people would actually be willing to come out and get their treatment done.
Shannon?
I think education, because when us as growing up, we didn't know much about HIV. We came into nowadays generation where we started reading more, understanding more what HIV is. And if these education is given to the younger ones, they're able to understand what HIV is. And if they feel that they are part or are affected by HIV, then they are able to go and get themselves tested, because they know the consequences of how they can, make changes to their day-to-day lifestyle and how they can improve their lifestyle.
Rowena?
I will have to agree with everyone here, because those are all things that actually contribute to people being more open. And like Shannon said, early education as well as education now as youths, because we have a stigma surrounding like sex education and drugs. When we're younger, no one wants to talk about it. It's taboo. But our families should be more open, because why do we do things outside? Like, we don't tell our family what we're doing. They don't even know that sometimes we have a secret side to us. So I feel like these people are living like double lives. So to cope with their stress, they go do these things, but they might be aware of the risks, but they don't have that safe enough space to go tell someone how they're feeling, so they go and resort to these other things. So they need to be more aware on the risks that they are taking, the consequences. I think the urgency should be there, because they're like playing it off a bit. They're like, oh, it might happen, but YOLO. This is life. They have that you only live once mentality too, and they're so stressed with their life that they just do it anyway. So I feel like it really does start from home, like just being able to be one person with your family and with other people. Because when you're not open, when there's no communication, you go and you seek other people's validation. You go hang out with people. They say you're the 5 people you hang out with. So when you start hanging out with people who do a certain thing, you're going to do the same thing as well.
Now, Shannon, and this will be a question for everyone again. What is the one most important lesson you have learned from your parents?
I think always being positive. Growing up in a community with having a mixed background, I was always told to stay positive no matter what happens. If you have a positive mindset, it is what you think and you feel is what you claim, what you call in. If you pray about it, if you're making sure that, if you put a goal and you want to achieve it, you always have to keep a positive mindset, and always make sure to always listen to yourself and yourself only, that I will be able to achieve what I am going to do.
Pepe?
One important lesson that my parents have taught me from a very young age it was more of an advice, and they always tell me, focus on progress and not perfection. When I was very young, I was somebody who, when I do something and I fail, that's the last time I'd ever do it. And my parents always said, you should never give up so easily. It's your first time doing it. You should continue practicing, and they always say, keep on practicing, and you'll find that your skills will increase. And that's an advice that they've always told me from a very young age. Never give up, and to never limit myself.
Rowena?
My family, they've taught me a lot of things, but one thing that's really stuck with me is, if you're born a nobody, it's not your fault. But if you die a nobody, that is your fault. So they've always encouraged me to always seize opportunities, just to always work hard towards what I want, because they always said nothing comes easy. But it depends on your capabilities, how badly you want it. If you want it, you'll go for it. And if it's meant to be yours, then you will do it.
Siteri?
One thing, they both taught me a lot of things as I was growing up. But one thing they've always not forgotten to let me know is just be myself. Be your true, authentic self. Stay true to your principles. If you believe that is what you want, you go for it. You work hard for it. And you just treat everyone with kindness and respect. Everyone is battling their own silent battles. They would use a good, kind word every now and then.
We've talked a lot about issues regarding indiscipline, disrespect within the community. A lot has been said about loss of culture, traditions, and language. If you are to look at, based on your experience, and if you can just share with the people watching, what would be one thing that you could do to help fix these issues that are starting to come into the community in a way where people are losing their identity, and at the same time, at one stage, it was being said that you cannot have a lot of culture, tradition and language because it could be seen as racist from another. I'll start with you, Shannon.
Growing up, I have a Rutuman dad, and I was always taught my mother tongue is Hindi, but I also had the opportunity of learning the Rutuman language, but not as extensively, because as a lot of awareness is coming around, the Rutuman language is now becoming very scarce. The language itself is losing the extensiveness of how it used to be. And what I think we should be doing is getting people who understand the language and making an education system about learning your language and learning other languages that makes, the culture stay alive.
Siteri?
So where I'm from, we are taught our own dialect from when we were growing up. And because I've had an Australian mother as well, mother figure, I've also had learned English. So I've grown up probably having the best of two worlds, the Fijian traditions and also the English traditions. And where my mother lacked, sort of the community helped. So they helped me with the traditional etiquettes, the culture, the traditions, the language. And as I moved away from the village, I've come into the urban areas, peers my age, they are from the same area, but they don't speak the dialect. They are not taught it from home. They just know English. And when they go back to the village where they're from, they don't know the dialect. So I think one factor is the parents, they don't teach the kids their own native language, like Shannon was saying. And I think that is one factor as well that needs to be changed. Parents need to start teaching the kids their culture, their language, even schools. I know English is a major language they have to learn, but if there were more sort of cultural classes, they could teach the Itaukes or even the Hindus their own culture, that would actually help greatly. All the kids will be able to know their own culture.
Pepe?
Yes, I definitely agree with Siteri. Because I grew up here in Suva, my entire life actually, and because my father is from Rahi and Fiji and my mom is from Tonga, it was sort of like a mixture of languages that I had to learn. I had to learn 2 different languages, but the main language that we spoke at home was English, so my parents never really got the chance to teach me both my Fijian and my Tongan language. But one thing that I was very grateful to them for was always bringing me back to my village. Somehow that would remind me of my cultural identity and the traditions and the dances that they would carry out there, and the values and principles that my people in my village hold is something that would bring me back to my cultural heritage and my traditional roots.
Rowena?
So I was I'm very grateful that growing up, my grandmother, she's actually Indo-Fijian Muslim. So I was very grateful that every time we had conversation, she would speak to me in Hindi. So that's how I picked up the language. I don't speak it very well, but I understand it fluently. And besides that, my family, we always spoke English at home, but it was my grandmother who was always teaching me. Now we have a thing where new parents, I think because due to this new age of technology, they find it easier during the most crucial years of a child's life from 0 to 5. That's when your brain is developing, soaking information, how to learn languages. They give them the iPad just to kill time, just to soothe the child, but that's not the way it should be going. During that time, our parents should be filling our children with knowledge on language, tradition, culture, engaging them with their communities, how religion works, how culture works. So I think that's something that we should be telling our new parents, is that during these times we should be helping our younger ones absorb their tradition and culture more. And even in primary school, I feel like maybe we could, because I know in high school we have vernacular language classes. I'm pretty sure in primary we have that as well, but we should be doing that from a young age because our children are very intelligent now. So I feel like we can teach them, they are teachable. And it would be a really good thing to do, especially from a young age.
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
Wait, where am I?
Oh, you died, bro.
I'm dead? But why?
Gori, that's what happens when you change your playlist when you're driving?
crashed.
What? No, this can't be happening. I had so much left to do in life. All I do is stare at my phone because you know I'm Gen Z and we're all anti-social. And I wish I did so much. But by the way, do you guys have Wi-Fi up here?
This is why you should have listened to F96 Drive. Shouldn't let them play the music.
And you just drive.
No! I can't believe this is happening. It wasn't
When you're
even
done,
my car and I didn't have
Hell is
car
that way,
insurance.
eh?
Wait, what?
Bring it back, bring it back, bring it
क्या आप भी परेशान हैं? क्या आपकी भी लाइफ में ऐसी ही टेंशन है? आपकी परेशानी को कम करने के लिए आ रहा हूं मैं बहुत ही जल्द आपको हंसाने के लिए। रेडियो सरगम और रेडियो सरगम फेसबुक पेज पर बहुत ही जल्द वहीं पर मिलेंगे। हेलो, अरे यार,
आप देख रहे हैं इसी संडास जो हमारे सुपरस्टार प्रश अभी आकर इस्तेमाल करेगा किसी वक्त। अभी लो आ गया सुपरस्टार प्रश।
Not following me
सर 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 जनता जानना चाहते हैं सर। सर अगर जनता जानना चाहते हैं सर, अगर rumors true sir. Hopefully. Bye. सर एक सर अब आप देख रहे हैं दफ्तर के स्टूडियो में हम बच चुके हैं। जेसिका जी, जेसिका जनता जानना चाहते हैं। जेसिका जनता जानना चाहते हैं कि आप कौन सी मेकअप लगाते हैं।
आज मैंने तो कोई मेकअप नहीं लगाया।
लगता है लगा ले।
How dare you, DEA!
जो आप देख रहे हैं यहाँ एसएन का गाड़ी पड़ा है, काफी गर्जी है, लेकिन एसएन साहब, एसएन सर अमेरिका से आए हुए सर। अमेरिका का जनता जानना चाहते हैं सर, आप हमेशा काला चश्मा क्यों पहनते हैं सर?
तो सफेद चश्मा कहाँ मिली? सफेद चश्मा देखा कहीं तुम?
तुक्ता क्या को है?
You're watching Fiji Village Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Our guests tonight are the Miss Hibiscus 2024 contestants, and we are talking about different issues and what do they feel about issues that are affecting us as the people of Fiji. I'd like to ask the next question, a very important one as far as youths are concerned. We know 70% of our population is around the age of below 40. A lot of interests, good or bad, affect the youth of our country, being a young population. Siteri, if you were to make a difference, a positive difference for one issue that is affecting the youth, what would that be?
I think one issue that will be affecting the youth are the topics that we've just discussed today, the drug uses, the criminal violence, the domestic violence. To address it, on these segments I've been talking about safe spaces and education. Those are actually very important things for the youth. We teach them from a young age, they will learn. If you teach them later on, it sort of goes through one year and out the other, because by then it's sort of too late and it takes too long for them to recover. So if we were to have community outreach, we have educational programs about it, that'll be very helpful for the youth.
Rowena?
If I could help or touch on a youth issue, I think it would be helping youth find their purpose, because I feel like nowadays we have a lot of youth who are just living. They're not actually living their purpose. They don't know what their purpose is. So I feel like I would have some sort of provide some sort of advocacy campaign, or like have a careers expo, you know, like helping youth find what they want to do in life. And it's so important that we as youth also, we question like, what do we want to do in life? Like, what do we love doing? Because now we just go on the internet, we're just scrolling, but we're not using our time productively to be the best versions of ourselves. We're just scrolling. Sometimes it's good scrolling because people, they get inspired from the internet. But this is something that's really affecting people. This is why a lot of things happen, because people, they get depressed, they don't have money. They do other things that they shouldn't be doing. It's just because they don't know what their purpose is in life. So it's so important that we pray to God, we ask God, okay, God, what is my purpose in life, you know? We also have to get to know ourselves. Like, what do we like to do? Like, I would be good at doing this. I could make a business out of it. So I feel like this is something I would really touch on, like helping youth find their purpose.
Pepe?
Yes, I definitely agree. And I think that, well, from my perspective, the main issue faced by our youth today is unemployment, like I mentioned before. Additionally, drug abuse and especially teenage pregnancies. I think with all this lack of job opportunities, these young people don't have anywhere to go. They don't know what their next step is. And so I think the best option to that would be providing awareness campaigns to go against these pressing issues.
Shannon?
I think youth, today's generation has become lazy, to be honest. We, growing up in an environment where we have a lot of social media, access to phones, we have become lazy and not productive. So what we could help mitigate this issue is, you know, as adults, we could engage our younger ones into hobbies or sporting events, or, you know, something that people can influence as a better in our lives rather than being lazy, because then these lead up to health issues as well. So if people were, you know, if you have interest in cooking, baking, or sporting activities, you know, and having these platforms where children are able to go and use their time wisely, that would really help the young ones.
Decision makers would be watching this show, and maybe they extract ideas that come from you in relation to the need for creative arts. How much focus do you think enough focus is being given on creative arts and on sports development?
If I'm being honest, I don't think there is a lot of education in the creative arts, because when we go to school, we just know, oh, PMEC finish, right? That just includes everything, sports, arts, music. But I feel like we should have more in-depth classes, like separate classes, because not everyone is gonna graduate and they're not gonna use what they studied for. Some people are just doing it for the sake of completing school. It's so important that we have subjects that people actually enjoy, something that people actually want to do in their life, make it a career. So it's so important that we have these kind of arts, because I see in Australia they have like music classes, they have places where kids go for recitals, music recitals, they have soccer events for small children. So if we have something like this in Fiji, it would really inspire people to take a course that they know will benefit them and they actually enjoy, because they say if you love your job, you won't feel like you're working, right?
Shannon?
I think arts is something that we really need to focus on, because we have amazing artists within us. We have amazing artists within the contestant pool this year. And if they're given the platform to work towards what they want to make that as a career, would be even better. And in terms of sporting events, you know, we have a national sport, which is rugby, but we also have other sports that our young generations, even us as adults, are good at, you know. So we could use these and build the sporting equipment, sporting locations, to increase awareness on these sporting activities so people can go and use it.
Pepe?
I feel that in our society today, arts is something that people don't really take seriously. I don't think many people look at it as having a good future, or they think it's very risky because they just don't know what's going to happen. But really and truly, most people who are in school have amazing talents and skills and gifts that God has blessed them with, but they don't have anyone there to guide them and to strengthen them with the potential that they have. And that's something that I would love to see as a campaign that could strive in empowering not only the young, but of all ages, anyone who wants to pursue their dreams within the art field, to take a risk.
Siteri.
So I don't think it's just the need for creative art, but also the need for appreciation for these arts. When these artists, they carve, they paint, they weave, they do all those things, but there's no one to appreciate what they do. And when there's no appreciation, it sort of pulls them back, and they're not confident enough to keep on doing it. You walk the streets in the towns, you see the men with their carvings displayed on the walkways. You see paintings, you see woven baskets, hats even. And there's no one stopping to admire or even to just to buy, to support. And these are all traditional gifts as well, you know. And if there's no appreciation for it, there will be no market for it as well. And I think that's one thing that people should do. They should appreciate these things more before it dies down.
If you have one superpower, I know you've been thinking about this. I'll start off with Pepe. What would it be and why would you choose it?
To be honest, I would love to fly. I would truly love to fly. Because I feel from the ground point of view, you can't really view much. I mean, you just view what we see here. But from an eagle's eye perspective, you're able to have a clear view of the world, what's happening. And not only that, but also because it's a very beautiful view from up there as well.
Siteri?
I've always liked language. So I would think my superpower would be to sort of understand languages that are spoken to me. Like as soon as it's spoken to me, it sort of clocks into my brain. And so next time someone talks in that language, I understand and I can speak back in that language. So yeah.
I think my superpower, what I want to have is empathy. Because we as a generation need to understand everyone. And you know, people fight their personal battles. And empathy is something we all can have as a superpower.
Rowena.
If I had a superpower, I think it would be teleportation, to be able to teleport to any country. No, just because I also come from a journalistic background, and I would love to be able to vlog different kind of cultures and see the diversity in the world, and just being able to appreciate and understand it by visiting each country. I think that would be a great superpower to have.
Now, you have spoken about advocating on different issues, and it'll be an exciting week, no doubt. Starting from this Saturday to next Saturday, you'll get a whole lot of many things. You'll soak in all the different types of experiences, including this one with many varying issues where you've discussed. I'd like to ask you first, Shannon, what are your three main goals if you win Miss Hibiscus next Saturday?
My advocacy message is on empowerment and sustainability and making our community a better place for our future generations. And with sustainability and empowerment, we are able to give back to the community and making sure that our lives and the future lives of our generation is done and looked after. We are not losing back on anything, and we are making sure that our culture remains our culture.
Rowena, what would be your three main goals if you win the Miss Hibiscus crown?
My three main goals would be firstly advocacy, especially on this rising drug issue that we're having. It's a Fiji drug epidemic we're having here. It's coming from our youth, it's coming from the families, it's coming from our children. And what I'd really like to push is that it's becoming a real issue. It's affecting everybody around us. It's risking our future generations. It's not giving our children an opportunity to embrace who they truly are. It's just stealing. It's like what they say in the Bible, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. It's just destroying the potential we have for our Fijian home. It's making this place sad, if I'm being honest. And I just really hope that through my advocacy I can be able to raise awareness and inspire people that there is a different way to do things. Like, I have been through a lot of struggles too in my life, financially, education-wise, coming from a single parent background. And it's okay to have these issues, and it's okay to reach out and ask for help if you're going through something. So that's one thing, advocacy, to inspire people. And just to be yourself. If you love to do something, you should go for it. You can work hard towards your goals and you can become something in your life. That's my message that I would like to share.
Siteri?
I would be very keen on advocacy, awareness, and inspiration. I'm advocating on cultural sustainability, only because I come from a cultural background and I'm very connected to my roots, my heritage. And so I would like to advocate on the fact that we need to keep our culture alive. We can integrate with modernization, but we don't need to lose our cultural identity because of modernization. And I'd like to have that awareness out there to the youths, to the men, to the women, that we need to keep it alive. So if they could teach it to their kids, to their students, and I would love to inspire everyone with the same advocacy interests to take part and empower everyone else around us.
Pepe?
I would like to be an ambassador for the challenges of youth and the problems of poverty, mainly because, well, after all, our youth are our future leaders of tomorrow, and also the problem of poverty continues to be an obstacle of our nation's progress. And my second goal would be to create awareness campaigns and be a part of educational programs that would go against these pressing issues that are affecting our country. And lastly, I would just want to grow as a person and build myself, because I'm still young and I'm still growing and learning, so that's something that I'd also love to experience.
Miss Goodman Fielder, Shannon Patrick, Miss Fiji Fashion Week, Pepe Malani, Miss Sigatoka, River Safari, Siteri, Qalibau, and Miss Apco, Rowena, Acraman. Thank you very much for coming on this show and to speak frankly on a number of issues that affect you as a person living in Fiji and as a person also vying for the Miss Hibiscus crown. What an exciting next few weeks, next few days will be. And on behalf of everyone watching, I'd like to wish you all the best. Ensure that you take the messages forward and that inspire each and every one that you come across. We are happy that you'll be getting a lot of airtime and different platforms to be advocating your issues, and we definitely know that you have a lot of people out there cheering you on. And stay positive. As you said, there's a lot of negativity around, but there will be a lot of success stories come by next Saturday. So on behalf of everyone who's watching and us here at CFL, we definitely will be cheering you on to ensure that you make this year's hibiscus a hibiscus to remember compared to yesteryears. And tomorrow we have another show. This week, since it's a hibiscus festival with just days away, we have another show tomorrow. We have 5 contestants will be appearing on the show, and that will be Sierra Lee, Melania Tora, Sementafa Samisoni, Martina Sigra, and Shaila Prasad. So I'll join you again at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Until tomorrow night, have a great evening.